Hey, are you an abrasive person or do you know one? Stick around. We're finna talk about it. Don't move.
Thank you for tuning in to the Convo with You C4, where we will converse, cultivate, challenge, and change with every show we bring you. We're excited today to bring you today's show, which is asking the question, are you an abrasive person? Tasha, will you give us a definition of what an abrasive person is?
All right. Okay. So an abrasive person is a personality, or I should say a person who is someone that hurts, annoys, irritates, or criticizes anyone and anything without having or seeming to have any remorse. Yes. So let me clear that up. Let's simplify that.
Yes.
So let's talk about abrasive people. So an abrasive person, in our opinion, is someone that just kind of rubs you the wrong way, and they rub you the wrong way not because of any specific thing, but it could just be because that's what they like to do. That is what really, I should say, for lack of a better word, makes them happy almost, to see you uncomfortable or to see you in a place that you might not necessarily feel loved. You feel like the opposite. Makes you uncomfortable, I should say. And so sometimes it could be situations or circumstances, but the abrasive people we're talking about. And so we'll dig a little deeper in this conversation, but just know what we're talking about today is how to interact and handle abrasive people.
Or to know if you're that abrasive person.
Sometimes we're abrasive and we don't know.
Right.
So that's when you have to really take a look at, am I an abrasive person? Do people have a tendency to avoid me? Are people uncomfortable when I'm around? Or they excuse themselves quickly when you enter the room? All of those are little signals that maybe you have an issue.
And then also being harsh. I think a lot of people get straightforward and harsh mixed up. So I think when you're straightforward, you're just being direct, you're being maybe blunt. But when you're harsh, you're intentionally being rude, you are, negative, critical. You're not doing it to encourage the person. You're doing it to let me tell you about yourself or check you about you. That's an abrasive, personality or person. Even a person may not be, abrasive in their whole personality, but there may be situations where people are abrasive.
Right, because I've been called, sometimes I've said I've been harsh or something, because usually it's with somebody I've said something to over and over again, and I'm just trying to get you to see it, trying to get you to, grow. It's because I know what my calling is, and I know what place I am in certain people's lives. So sometimes I have to say something harsh, and because you don't want to accept it, sometimes you may say, oh, she's so hard, I don't want to go to her. Oh, she's so blunt, I don't want to talk with her. So they'll run and try to find somebody that will pacify or meet that need that they are. So, just knowing the difference. And then sometimes it's hard because it's a thin line between all the stuff that we're talking about. It's kind of a thin line.
So I think it's two sides to, every story and every person or circumstance. And, so you have... Nicole said the term straightforward and harsh, and so oftentimes I think people get those two confused.
Right.
Yes. So when you think about being straightforward, it's what you said. It's being able to have that conversation with someone and to speak truth and to speak directly. And sometimes we as people want to hear it with fluff.
Right.
We want to hear it with a word of encouragement or a little sugar with the lemon, I should say. And so we often look at that as people and we embrace it, or we absorb it, I should say, with the thought of you're being harsh. When really in reality, you're just being straightforward and truthful. You know, then the other side of it is sometimes we're insensitive as well, that we want to get our point across, you know, and we dive into a conversation with, hey, I want to make sure you get the point and you get it now because that's what I need you to do. But we don't think about building the person up or making sure that they can receive it in the right way. So, you know, it goes back to straightforward. You know, the thought is I'm trying to get you to understand or speak with you or talk to you so you can grow. Like you said, harsh is I'm saying this with the intent to tear you down and to make you less than me or to devalue you. And so we want to be clear on what the opposites of those coins are when we talk about abrasive people.
So we're talking motivation here. What's the motivation behind what you're saying? You're straightforward. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to motivate you to grow or whatever. So sometimes what I would say might not be what you want to hear because I didn't put the fluff on it. But then otherwise, if I don't want your best interest at heart, then now I'm going to be abrasive and I could care less how you feel about it. And it's not to help you. It's because I just want to be that person. And sometimes people are naturally abrasive all their lives. And they live that way, and sometimes they die that way. Never knowing that you could have helped people. Instead, you just took the opposite to have a motive to hurt them.
Or because I'm hurting, I'm going to tear you down too.
Hurting people hurt people.
Right. I want to hurt you because I'm hurting.
Hurting people hurt people.
Because I've had somebody, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Because I've had somebody said that they used to run from me. Not you, Joycey, not that.
Okay, guilty.
Another person. That's a abrasive person on the couch.
And that's only because they said that they knew I was going to tell them the truth.
Okay.
And so they would always run because they said, oh, because God going to show her something and she going to say truth. And so they always ran. So just knowing the difference, because sometimes you're running away from your healing.
Yes.
You know, when you run away from certain people, a lot of times you're running away from the very person that God is going to use to help move you forward.
True.
Well, I'm gonna say this because I'm on the flip side. I'm a recovering abrasive person. I am still in recovery.
Is there such a thing? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was the type that will tell you, and not only was I straightforward, but I will walk away like, deal with it. You know, like it was no concern.
But what was your motive? What was your motive?
Well, my motive was to check you. My motive was to get you straight. Like you ain't listening, and I told you 10 times. Or I think what you're doing is, you know, idiotic, and you're not receiving what I'm saying. So now I'm in my feelings, and I'm not even worried about their feelings because I'm just gonna get you told and say what I gotta say, and I'm gonna move on. You deal with the catastrophe of emotions I just left you with because I got what I had to say out. You know what I'm saying, Nicole?
I'm keeping it real.
I'm keeping it real. That's
right. That word.
That is just a cop out. I'm keeping it real. And let me tell y'all this. Let me share this story with y'all. I was walking with this young lady. And I was on the phone, and me and her had this conversation over and over, and she just would not, you know, she was just still like trying to make it, to me, making excuses, but this was really how she viewed it. And I was just so at the point, like, you know what? I am so done with you. Like, what are you not getting? You know, I was just so, no compassion, no grace. It was just like, what are you, grace. You know, like, duh, you know, how you ain't got this yet? Like, why you know, literally. And she said, you know, and she like listened to me, and she said, you know what, Sister Nicole, I just feel like you're saying you keep it real, but you're really just being rude. And that broke my heart. I was like, I had to call her back. I was like, I'm gonna call you back. I was like, oh my God.
You ran.
Yeah, but I ended up calling her back and said, you know what, that was right, because I never saw, like, nobody ever said that to me. Everybody just kind of took it or probably said it behind my back.
Right, and said it behind your back.
She was like, I feel like you're keeping it real. You're just being rude. And I was like,
keeping it rude.
Yeah,
exactly.
But because she had the guts to finally have a conversation to say to me, you know, this is not cool.
Yes.
I got a boundary and you surpassed it because you're making me feel like nuts. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh my God, but it penetrated me because I said, wow, that really made me, that's when I really thought about, am I too harsh? Like, why am I not being compassionate when I have to, when I know it's going to be a difficult conversation? Right. Why am I not going out of my way to be graceful when I know it's going to be something that you don't want to receive or it's a truth that you're not ready for?
Right.
So those are things you got to be honest. Yeah.
Right. You got to be honest.
So why do you think people interpret or say or view you as sometimes being harsh?
Because I walk in the prophetic. I walk, in that gifting. And so sometimes I don't want to see them fall off the cliff. And so sometimes it takes a hard word to get you to come back from off the cliff. So when you know me, if you know me, and if you've been walking with me or you know me, I'm not the kind of person that's going to hurt you, intensely hurt you. Mm-hmm. I'm there so that I don't want you to fall off that cliff. I want you to see that change. I want you to see that there's a better way. I want you to see those things. So sometimes it can come off like that because I'm going to say it in a way that you can get it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, what if you don't know the person? I mean, well, let me ask you this. If God's showing you someone, is it always somebody you know, like got a relationship with, or is it just...
No. And a lot of times, 99.9% of the time, he's telling you to pray about it before you go into that person and try to say something.
Right, right.
So in the time of prayer, you're seeing what does he want you to do? He might send somebody else. Or he might just begin to transform or do some things in that person, aligning them up. So you are praying. You're being that gap filler.
That's good.
And sometimes with me as a counselor, sitting with someone, sometimes the Holy Spirit will have me say something in such a way. And so I have to be led by the Lord. The intent is not to be cruel. The intent is to follow what the Lord is telling me, and with the attitude and the voice that he wants me to deliver it, because that's what he's determined that's going to get you, going to get your attention. So if I don't deliver it the way he's telling me to, then I just fail.
Yeah.
Because I'm in disobedience. So I have to deliver it the way the Lord tells me, especially in a counting setting. Many times I've had to say something and the person got mad at me, but it was like, chew on it, pray on it, and then you see me next week.
Because a lot of people have came back and said, wow, what you said, but if I hadn't said it in that way, then you may have been over the cliff. I don't know. God is using us because we're the body, and so he's going to use the vessels to help one another.
Yes.
Right, because sometimes it's not what we want to hear, it's what we need to hear.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And we're human, so our thought process is more about connecting with people and learning them, but also saying, I just want you to see the exterior, the perfect me. I just want to see what I want you to see. I want you to see what I want you to see.
Yes.
And so anything that you tell me outside of that, you're being mean, or you're not being nice to me. You're just doing this when really I'm challenging you to change.
I'm challenging you to change.
Yes, and so that's the key. For me, I think about there are times, because I think all of us on this round table could be deemed as abrasive at times. I could think of times where I've had to say something because it's like you, the Mac 10 truck is coming. I see it. I've walked this path before. Daughter, son, sister, brother. I don't want you to get hit by that truck. So I'm telling you what you need to know. And those things usually come with a sense of urgency. And it's not going to be with fluff. And it's not going to be with the thought of, let me care for your feelings in a way. No, let me help you understand this is life changing, life altering, and you need to get it, and it needs to be immediate. you know, but I've also been on the other side of it,
Yes.
you know, of hearing a hard word or dealing with people who I would say or deem as abrasive. And God has shown me at times that I've needed to deal with them for a couple of reasons. One, to grow me up.
Yes.
You know, I've been the person standing in front of the Mac 10 truck.
Yes.
And I can remember,
Yes.
you know, a pastor that
Yes.
I deeply respect, you know, who came and said some things to me and said, Tasha, you got your own type of pride. And I was like, what? Wait a minute. Me? No, I'm not prideful. I'm humble. And
That's
you
if you
know,
gotta keep saying
yes.
that you are.
But I left out of that meeting like, he's mean, and he didn't have to say that to me. But what it was a moment for me to grow up, and I had to receive a hard word, and I had to hear it, and I had to embrace it, and really ask the Lord to help me change. And other times, you know, I've dealt with people, and I've kind of not said things that I was supposed to, you know, and God has shown me that I need to challenge the interaction. I need to speak up and have a conversation with people about, hey, you just can't talk to me that way, or are you okay? Maybe you're going through something before I automatically assume it's directed towards me. And I can think of many times where I kind of shrunk back and tried to go hide and run away because I didn't want to have interactions with abrasive people, but God even challenged me in that space. Grow up, speak up, be a voice of reason, and bring it to their attention, because sometimes it's not intentional.
It's a lot of times it's not intentional.
Right. And I think I think the reality is, I mean, let's have real conversation. A lot of Christians aren't reading their Bibles because there's what we call abrasive today. It's not abrasive. We're sensitive.
Yes.
I mean, just to be honest, we're very sensitive, and you have to say it a certain way, and I have to be in the right mood to receive it. And it's like, and
talk
that's
nice
not.
to me first.
Or do you really know me to say that? What you just said. But if you look at David, I mean, come on, Nathan can't help. You're the murderer. It was you. But David's heart was like, you know what? I sinned against God, and you're right. And then he had the other brother come that was from the house of Saul, throwing rocks at him. You murderer, you this, you that. And his boy like, let me take him out for you. You know, you the king. Who are you talking to?
Yes.
And David said, no, God put him here. Maybe he'll have mercy on me because he see me suffering. We don't have that heart. It's like, who you talking about? That's why I cannot deal with these people, because they are so... But we are so sensitive today. We have embraced the world's mentality about correction. And so now it's you abrasive, everybody abrasive.
It's a good book
you're
I read.
Mean. You know, that is the term now. You're mean.
You're mean.
You're
mean-spirited.
Yes.
I'm going to say this, because I was in that place where somebody said something to me as well, and I walked out and I was so mad. And by the time from walking from the building to my car, the whole, like, literally, I can remember hearing my footsteps walking, and God said, and I'm sitting there, who they think they don't talk to me, I'm wrong. And God said, but is it true? And by the time I got to the car,
is it true?
That was true.
Is it true?
But I was so sensitive and in my feelings.
So instead of them being abrasive, they were not being abrasive. They were really giving you what you needed to hear, and then it broke your spirit. And then now you can go back to that person, hopefully, and thank them for being obedient.
Because like you said, we got to grow up. That's just the bottom line. We have to grow up, and if we don't grow up, then it's going. You trying to figure out people when you need to be figuring out you.
Yes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And
maybe God will.
And then you can walk with people.
Yes. Maybe God will send somebody to have a harsh word because he done told you 10 times and you still ain't listening to the soft whisper of the Holy Spirit. So now he got to send somebody to say hello.
Yes.
In other words, he kicked it up a notch.
And it is all for our good. That's
yes, for our good and his glory.
It's for our good. Exactly. He said, I love those who I discipline.
Right. He has to chasten us. If you're sons and daughters,
directly from him.
You know. He chases his sons and daughters.
Yes, he does. And we're a fool if we reject the chastening.
That's right.
Embrace it. And that now you're talking about people who actually come to you in love and you interpret them as being abrasive.
Now you don't want to talk to them. I don't want to do with them.
This is in the church, but we do have some people who are actually abrasive.
Yes.
Yes.
And they're not following the leading of and unctioning of the Spirit. They're coming to you for their own glory, their own pleasure. They're saying something to you because they like to stir people up.
Right.
They like to
stir up
so
confusion.
that's a
Yes.
true abrasive person.
Yes.
Now, if there's someone like that in your midst, in your family, in your church, how are you going to deal with them?
Right.
And they're not coming because the Holy Spirit sent them. I mean, they're just truly mean, abrasive people. How, as a Christian, do you deal with them? And they may be in the church.
Well, I think just what
Yeah.
like what I just said with David. That dude wasn't coming with no heart of, oh, you the king, you messed up. No, he was from the house of Saul, which means you inherently hate David. You know what I mean? And he's throwing brick. We don't even get rocks thrown at it. We just got people saying something harsh to it.
Yes.
But David's heart was, God sees this.
Yeah.
God sees, so we have to be mature enough to walk away from people and say that's their issue.
Right.
But sometimes we're not
And-
supposed to walk away.
But
And
what I'm saying,
sometimes
but
we
your
do.
question
I mean,
was,
Sometimes we do, sometimes you
no,
don't.
but your question was,
How would
how
you
do
deal?
you deal with
How
it?
would you deal with
Sometimes you can't. What you gonna do? Keep checking people and say you're abrasive?
No,
you can't.
no,
But what
no.
I'm saying is, sometimes you have to let that's your issue.
That's true.
And
That's
I
true.
gotta walk away
Mhm.
and take from it if I can anything that you said. If not, I gotta leave it with you. I can't take that with me.
If they're truly an abrasive, mean person
Yeah.
whose intent is to hurt your feelings or put you down.
Right.
That's different.
Yeah.
Right.
That-
So, and
that-
I
but
think-
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. You
Yes.
have to be mature enough to get past
Right.
that.
Right.
That even if their intent is wrong.
Yes.
He
yes.
got you.
Yes.
So you ain't got that's
Yes.
your issue and you gotta
Right.
deal with that one.
Right.
Now,
I can't carry that one.
what if that person is in the household with you?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a real good one.
Right.
Sometimes
Right,
you
you
know
can't leave.
that abrasive
Right.
person
You
is
can't
not
walk
away. You can't walk
always
away.
in the community or in
That's
the
true.
church.
Yeah.
You actually are coming home every day. And we're saying you're not that
Right.
abrasive person. That abrasive person is someone in your household.
Yes.
How will you deal with that abrasive person within your household? What if it's your mate?
I can't answer that question. So you heard from us, now we want to hear from you. So make sure that you visit our website at ConvowithU.org. Be sure to also like us on Facebook and go ahead and hit that subscribe button down over there. I know you see it. Go and hit it. I'm Nikki,
I'm Tasha.
I'm Joyce.
And I'm Deborah.
and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.